Again, the howling of that wolf. That terrible wolf.
Yes.
How far away it sounds, and yet so near.
I believe it must be near Carfax.
Count Dracula's estate.
Yes. It's nearly 9 o'clock. The professor will be arriving then, according to the telegram. But perhaps it's time we set up a dog cart?
Yes.
Professor Van Helsing has arrived.
Oh, please, show the professor in. Professor Van Helsing.
Dr. Seward, I took an earlier train. I hope that won't inconvenience you.
Not at all.
You are Professor Van Helsing?
Mrs. Harker, aunt of my affiance.
Why is it, Doctor, that only the female of the species is shocked by my presence?
Oh, not shocked, dear lady, I assure you.
Surprised, then.
Well, then, yes, surprised. To that I do confess.
The cane I carry, not because of infirmity, but because of my authority.
It is a great honor to have you here, Professor Van Helsing.
And a great adventure for me to be here. All the world, Dr. Seward, is following with eager anticipation your work with young Redfield.
You will soon be able to meet Ringfield and observe her.
Her case is of importance, not only to medical science, but to us also much physics. Now, if I may be permitted to go to my room.
Oh, of course. Mrs. Harker will show you the way.
Just catching flies, Dr. Seward, for my spiders.
You haven't been eating them again, have you, Ringfield?
Eating them? Oh, no, Dr. Seward, oh, no.
Tell me, Ringfield, what is it like to swallow a fly? Can you feel it flutter in your throat? And what does a fly taste like?
Like a chestnut, sir.
Raw or roasted?
I catch the flies for my spiders. The spiders are for my sparrows. And the sparrows are... Oh, Dr. Seward, have you found me a cat? Or at least a kitten?
Still making inquiries.
A kitten would do, Doctor. Would it not? It would soon grow into a big cat. And a cat would sit on my lap and I would stroke its warm fur and blood and feel its life in my hand. And I have sparrows, and a cat would like the sparrows.
And when I discover one day, Ringfield, that the cat which eaten the sparrows had in turn been eaten by you,
No, that is life, Doctor, is it not? There is that which eats, and that which is eaten, and that which is eaten carries into the life of that which eats. It's a design for immortality, is it not? Thus you see, there is no death, there's only life. But now, dear Doctor, won't you let me have a little more sugar? I think it will be good for me.
and the flies.
And the flies too. And the flies like the sugar, and I like the flies, and the flies like the spirit. Professor Van Helsing is in her room. I looked in on Lucy.
Oh, Mrs. Harker, how is dear Lucy?
My niece is still sleeping, and most peacefully.
Thank God for that. Do you think, Mrs. Harker, we may have the marriage on Sunday?
I believe it best, Dr. Seward, that there be no further wedding plans until this strange malady which afflicts my niece has been determined.
Perhaps Professor Van Helsing can be of some assistance. She is England's foremost metaphysicist. Although she is here to observe Ringfield, I do plan to call attention to Lucy's condition.
You would have a metaphysicist examine Lucy? You, a doctor, a man of science?
There are some things, Mrs. Harker, beyond the realm of science.
My late husband was a student of the occult. Do you think it's possible that...
Dr. Stewart Smith, I'd like to talk to you for a moment.
What's Abigail? Speak out.
Privately, if you don't mind, Doctor. It's about her. The loony.
And what have you been up to, young Renfield?
I've been
More spiders, more flies.
But I need them, Doctor. They are life-giving,
Yeah.
like a cat.
No, there will be tea and cake and sausage.
Ugh, they're dead. They're all dead. I need life to bring me life.
Go back to your room, Renfield.
Dr. Seward, why do you keep that young woman about the house?
Renfield is highly important to the research I'm conducting.
Every time I venture down the hallway past her room, I shudder, not daring to look in for fear of what I might see. Lucy is all I have now. You do understand.
Well, of course, Mrs. Harker.
This has always been her dream, Lucy's dream, to be mistress of a country manor.
And so shall she be, with you here by her side to assist her.
Dr. Seward, I believe that having that young woman hereabouts with Lucy in her present condition is most inadvisable.
Renfield's really quite harmless, well, except for her zoophagus tendencies.
Zoophagus?
The belief that only living food can bring her life. Renfield is like a cobra in this regard, which must eat only breathing animals or perish.
And what of this cat she mentioned?
Renfield craves a cat as food.
And if you'll give her a cat, Dr. Seward, what will be the next step? Please, send her away. For my sake, for Lucy's sake.
My work with Renfield is in the interest of science.
Would you put science above Lucy, whom you love, whom we both love?
Fine. I shall send her away.
Good.
After Professor Van Helsing has had a chance to observe her. The professor believes there may be metaphysical ramifications in her behavior of interest to the occult world.
Ah, Professor Van Helsing. Metaphysics is the study of the supernatural, is it not?
Only partly. We are interested in the question of being. We attempt to go beyond the senses, beyond perception and apperception, beyond the conscious to the unconscious, into the world of phenomena. Cigar.
Oh, dear me, no.
Picked up the bison turkey, along with others. But this is the only acquired vice I've been able to get through British customs.
There is another matter, Professor Van Helsing, of the utmost importance, of which you may be of some assistance. You see, a fortnight ago there was to be a marriage here, between Miss Lucy and myself. But suddenly my affianced developed strange symptoms.
Oh,
We thought it best to postpone the marriage, Mrs. Harker and myself.
and what were these strange symptoms?
Shortly after her arrival, Lucy, my fiancée, became very weak. Commenced sleepwalking.
Oh, she has walked in her sleep before, but never like this. As if she were answering some sort of strange force, some evil force.
Why evil?
Surely that which is unnatural must be evil.
Any change in her physical condition, other than the weakness?
Nothing. Oh, except for 2 small pinpricks about her throat.
We fear that Lucy must have cut herself while trying to secure the scar.
2 pinpricks about her throat. And nothing more than that. Oh, a mystery. A mystery to be pursued.
No, Renfield, don't go. Stay. Renfield, this is Professor Van Helsing.
Has she come to look at me?
The professor is a friend, here to stay as a guest.
Ah, she has come to look at me. You can't fool me. You all think I'm crazy. Because I eat the flies and the spiders and the sparrows and a kitten or a cat. Will you get it for me? Come and sit. What are you doing, doctor?
I'm a professor of metaphysics.
Metaphysics?
We deal with the physical, the psychical, and the spiritual.
Oh, yes.
We metaphysicians are interested in being, of life, both here and beyond, life on all its manifest levels, of the transference of life.
The transference? I know.
What do you know, Renfield?
I know there's life in everything. There's life in a fly. That can be transferred. And life in a spider. And and that can be transferred. And life in a sparrow, and in a kitten, and a cat. I catch a fly, and I swallow it, and that life becomes a part of me and part of my life, and the spider I swallow becomes a part of me and part of my life, and a sparrow, and a kitten, and then the cat. Thus you see, I'm no longer merely Renfield. I am the fly, and the spider, and the sparrow. You understand?
I understand. And Dr. Seward understands.
Oh, Dr. Seward, do you understand? Do you?
Yes, Renfield, I understand.
Oh, thank God! Out there all is blind. Right? But what is life? What is it? Life be, after all, only waiting on something else other than what we're doing. Death be always right in it.
Fascinating. I look forward, Dr. Seward, to the fully published account. But now you must tell me more about the mystery of your Lucy. She arrived here to be married, correct?
Correct.
Seemingly in good health and spirits.
Correct.
And then developed a general weakness, but with no physical sign of any malady,
None whatsoever.
except for the marks upon her throat.
The pinpricks.
And when she sleepwalks, where does Miss Lucy venture?
There on the balcony mostly. But once to Carfax,
Carfax.
the neighboring estate.
A most goodly gentleman lives there. He brought her back to us.
Still sleeping?
Yes.
How strange you made no attempt to awaken her.
Oh, Lucy.
Aunt Emily? Aunt Emily?
Yeah, my child.
Here.
Do you hear the bells? Church bells? Wedding. Oh, see. Coming up the steps. The bride, all alone. She stops and someone steps towards her. Takes her hand and they enter. But it's not a church. It's not a church. The bells. They're not joyous wedding bells. The bells calling death.
Follow Mrs. Hawkins. Stay by her side, especially near the railing. Who went over the balcony when instant death.
Are there wolves about?
Dogs from the neighboring estate. Carfax. Tonight is the full moon.
And also St. George's Eve.
St. George's Eve.
An old superstition for Middle Europe. When the clock strikes 12, all the evil things in the world will have full sway. Have you never heard? Listen to me carefully, Dr. Seward, and ask no questions. Outside the doorway of your house grows a wild rose bush, and nearby a mountain ash. Bring me one of those wild roses, and a small branch of the mountain ash. And from the kitchen, bring garlic, and from the hallway, the crucifix from the wall. Go quickly, there's no time to lose.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. You don't count. Not now that the Master's here. I'm here, Master. I'm here to do your bidding. You will not pass me by again, will you?
Spider. Come and see the spider. Renfield, eat the spider.
No. I'm here,
Tonight is St. George's Eve.
Out there, on the balcony, Professor, a bat flew against me. A giant bat.
We must all retire. That's the best thing. Good night, Mrs. Harper.
Lucy.
Shh. Don't you waken her. It's important that she sleep. Just gotta have her back. Now let's leave her alone. Oh, Miss Lucy, what a mess you've made about you. Oh, she sleeps with Darling. Rich people are so messy. Well, good night, miss.
Right.
Is it a lock, Brighter?
I still cannot believe that Lucy is dead.
Tea. Have some tea. She was such a gentle person. Just as you are gentle. And kind. And thoughtful.
Tell me, Mrs. Harker, how did Lucy regard me? I mean, did she think me dull?
That's the very question that she asked me. Did you think her dull?
We cannot all be Professor Van Helsing.
No. There must be contrast. I suppose I say that because I've always been shy and retiring. The professor is much like the count.
In what way?
They are both proud. Very proud.
But they will be remembered, Mrs. Harker.
Yes, they will be remembered.
That's where she is. Miss Lucy. And on Hampstead Heath.
Yes, Redfield.
In a marble tomb, she mean, Miss Lucy?
Yes, in a marble tomb.
Master says there's no death. Well, there's life. There's no death.
Have you forgot your box, Redfield? Your box of spiders. I believe Brendan and very touched by Lucy's death. They seemed to become very close before she died.
Perhaps Renfield, in some way, sits her impending demise. Perhaps Lucy herself knew the death approached. Take her into his arms. Not I, but death.
Professor Van Helsing, would you like some tea?
Nothing will please me more, dear lady. Have you seen today's paper?
Oh, not another incident on the heath. Oh, dear me, no.
Unfortunately, yes. And the same circumstances. Children playing, being enticed away by a beautiful young lady, and then being found.
Oh, the poor children.
And then being found. And all with the same marks on the throat.
Perhaps a rat or small dog.
Dr. Seward, what did Miss Lucy die of?
Nervous prostration following a great loss or waste of blood.
And how, Dr. Seward, was the blood lost or wasted?
That I do not know, Professor.
You mean you don't know of any medical or scientific explanation?
That's correct.
Do you feel, Dr. Seward, that if science cannot explain, then there is nothing to explain?
Science seeks to collect all possible evidence based on sensible phenomena.
Ha! The senses. 5, Doctor. Or more. At least we know of 5. Would you not agree, Doctor, that there may be many stimuli which are beneath the threshold of a man's consciousness? Yes, we must assume there are perceptions beyond our mere limited sensory capabilities. Tell me, Dr. Seward, do you believe in corporal transference? No. In astral bodies? No. In thought reading? In hypnotism?
I do believe in hypnotism.
Yes. Then you understand how it acts. The possibility of getting into the very soul of the person hypnotized. There are so many mysteries in life. In some islands of the western seas, there are bats which hang on the trees all day, and those which have been described as like giant nuts or palms, and that when the sailors sleep on deck because it's hot, lie down on them, and then in the morning are found dead men, white as even Miss Lucy.
Good God, Professor. Do you mean that Lucy was bitten by such a bat? That a thing like that is here in England? But Professor, what are you asking of me?
I'm asking you to believe.
To believe what?
To believe in things you cannot.
Professor Van Helsing, come to the point. You are desirous that some previous conviction you think I might have should not injure the receptivity of my mind to some strange new idea you wish to introduce.
Exactly. You'll recall the pinpricks on Miss Lucy's throat. And in the papers, we read about the punctures on the children's throats.
You believe there's a connection?
Dr. Seward, you and Mrs. Harper should prepare yourselves for a shock, for I must now tell you.
It's getting darker earlier and earlier, it seems.
Abigail, would you please go upstairs and check on Renfield?
Oh, sir, I'm afraid. You never can tell about those loonies, you know.
I'll go with you.
Oh, would you, Mum? I'd be ever so much obliged. When I took this position, I didn't think there'd be no loonies around. No, Mum. Never had no fault like that.
I'm glad Mrs. Harper has left us. I'm afraid that what I'm about to reveal to you would be too much of a shock for that lady.
Professor Van Helsing, you have been trying to prepare me for some important statement. I am a grown man, a man of science. Surely there should be no reluctance.
It's about those marks on Lucy's throat, and the same sort of marks found on those children wounded on Hampstead Heath.
Renfield? How did you get on the balcony?
I did it! From my room! I did it from my room!
That is not possible.
Oh, but it is. It is. I learned to do it. My master taught me how. You see, Dr. Seward, I'm no longer your prisoner.
I can leave whenever I like. I can escape whenever I desire. But that should not concern you, dear doctor. I find living here most pleasurable. Here there are flies and spiders and sparrows. You promised me a cat or even a kitten, but that's not your concern anymore. Now that the master's here.
Renfield, the truth, ma'am. How did you get on the balcony?
From my room. I said to myself, Renfield, that is a feat that a lizard might do. And surely you, Renfield, are superior to a lizard. So I did. Down my window, grasping the bricks and mortar until I reached the balcony. So you see, Dr. Seward, I ate a lizard once, and now its life is inside of me. And so when I need to be a lizard to scale a wall, then a lizard I am.
Renfield is here, as you can see.
Oh, but now I return to my room, where I have flies and spiders and the sparrows all over me. Oh, Professor Nichols. Yes, Renfield. Would you not like to see my room?
Why, of course, Renfield. I shall be delighted to see your room.
I have decided to leave on Tuesday next.
Oh, Mrs. Hawker, must you go?
I have intruded upon your hospitality for far too long, Dr. Seward. Now, with Lucy dead, in the tomb.
Count Dracula.
Please excuse this most sudden interruption. I wish to inform you that one of my dogs has escaped.
Oh?
The one I call Wolf. In fact, he is a wolf that I have tamed. Mostly harmless unless aroused, but easily excitable and liable to frighten.
Oh, dear.
There is no need for panic, dear lady. You see, soon my men will have him, and the alarm will have passed.
A wolf about.
Mrs. Harper, I am so sorry that I could not attend your niece's funeral. Important affairs carried me away that afternoon. I know you agree. You must be impatient. I met her only once, but I was struck by her youth and beauty. It was a tragic loss.
Yes.
Perhaps some evening, dear lady, you will grace my dining room.
Unfortunately, Mrs. Hawker leaves on Tuesday.
Tuesday. What a pity. Then, Dr. Seward, I will now take my leave with me. And you, madame, before you leave on Tuesday, perhaps one evening we will see one another again.
Perhaps.
Good evening.
Amazing. The only possible entrance to this balcony is through these doors, and yet we know Renfield has discovered another way.
Professor Van Helsing, we have had a report that there's a wolf about. Not a real wolf, a wild one, that is, but one that escaped from Carfax, the neighboring estate. Oh, I am glad I'm not going to be out tonight. And now I think I shall retire to my room. Oh, Professor, if I seem characterized to you as a frightened woman, I am. Good night.
Now, Professor Van Helsing, what is this about Lucy and the children on Hampstead Heath?
Mrs. Harker has related to me that for several weeks before Lucy's death, there was a bat seeking entrance to this room.
There are many cats hereabout.
But only one, it seems, with the boldness, the desire, the determination to enter.
And so,
Those marks upon Lucy's throat.
made by a bat.
No. But if we assume that a bat may also be the form of another thing, as also a wolf might be.
A wolf?
Yes, Dr. Seward. In the dark world of evil, bats and wolves are frequently but the semblance of something else.
I could never believe that.
Miss Lucy died from the loss of blood. Blood sucked from her by one of these evil beings,
And the children on Hampstead Heath.
meeting the same fate.
From a bat. A wolf.
No, Dr. Seward. It is our Lucy who is out on Hampstead Heath.
No. No!
Upstairs are books for you to see and to read.
But Lucy is dead and in her tomb.
Lucy may or may not be in her tomb. That's for us to discover. Come now, Dr. Seward, to my room.
Master, I'm here. Master, you promised.
My Lucy.
Master, I waited so long for you to arrive. Take me to the Heath, Master, as you promised. And will there be children again? I need young blood.
Two will be lured to your presence. The boy of 9. Here we go. 7.
So young. That is good. The flowing young blood into my mouth, out my throat, and into my veins, bringing me immortal life. Life. That is good, Master.
Yes. The life is good. Come with me, my mistress.
Master? Master? No! Master, take me with you, please!
Hide the bag there in the bookcase.
Professor Van Helsing, what's in the bag?
Springfield, why aren't you sleeping?
How can I sleep? All others are awake and about.
Springfield, go back to your room.
It's very difficult to hide anything here. Very difficult.
I suppose I was thinking, Professor, but still, the horror of it all.
Lucy has been removed from the undead and is now amongst the dead. That's something we all shall be.
I could not believe my eyes. Finding Lucy's coffin empty, and seeing her there on the heath, the child in her arms, watching her mouth on the child's throat, and witnessing her return to her tomb. I should have helped you with the deed, Professor. I should have helped you.
She was the woman you loved.
Tell me, Professor, what you did, what you had to do.
I drove a stake through Lucy's heart and then cut off her head. Now your Lucy is at peace, and the children on Hampstead Heath safe, at least for a while. For the vampire lives and is hereabouts, perhaps already selecting his next victim.
Tell me everything you know.
My knowledge is out of the lore and experience of the ancients, and of all those who have studied the powers of the undead. When they become such, there is with the change the curse of immortality. They cannot die, but must go on, age after age, adding new victims and multiplying the evils of the world. For all that die from the attacks of the undead become themselves undead and seek their victims. And so the circle goes on, ever widening, like as the ripples from a stone thrown in the water.
But now Lucy has been freed from the undead.
Yes, her soul is now free.
Professor Van Helsing, here's a book. It's a favorite of mine. I wish for you to have it.
Why, thank you, Renfield.
I, like you, am also interested in the occult. I used to fancy that life was a positive and perpetual entity, and that by consuming a multitude of living things, no matter how low the creation scale, one might indefinitely prolong their life. At times, I held on to this belief so strongly, I even tried to take human life on occasion. The doctor here will bear me out that I tried to take his life. Isn't that true, doctor? I, of course, was relying on the scriptural phrase of Deuteronomy 12:23, for the blood is the life. Professor Van Helsing, I play the role of the lunatic, and you of the metaphysician. But we do think the same, do we not?
I believe Renfield is our key.
What?
A vampire may only gain entry when asked thereto by an inmate. The vampire has been here, destroyed our Lucy. Yes, Renfield surely is the key, for just as I am interested in your zooophagus patient, the vampire must be also, or can extend his knowledge, just as it will extend ours. Renfield lives in the world of the occult, and in that world is our vampire.
Then Renfield is safe.
No, Dr. Seward. For when the vampire has no further use for Renfield, he will be destroyed. It's possible the vampire will find another who bids him invitation.
Who in this household would invite such a monster?
Who indeed?
The Count has arrived.
Oh, the Count. I had forgotten the appointment. Please show him in. Professor Van Helsing, Count. Professor, this is our good friend from Carfax.
Carfax. Oh, yes. Count, I confess I find your mansion most interesting, though I've seen it only from a distance.
It is much the same as here. You see, until 100 years ago, these two houses were part of the same estate, owned by twin brothers. Is that not true, Dr. Sweat?
Yes, I believe so.
You see, I made a thorough investigation before I moved here 2 months ago.
So recently.
The Count is from Transylvania.
Transylvania?
Yes. Have you been there?
As a matter of fact, I have.
You are the first person that I have met from the outside who has been there.
I was attending a conference in Budapest, metaphysical, for you see, Count, I'm a metaphysicist. A stranger I met at the conference who learned of my special interest in being and all its possible manifestations of extinction recommended I visit Transylvania, particularly on St. George's Eve.
And did you?
Not on St. George's Eve, but at a later date. There were 4 of us in the group, an expedition, you might say.
You see, Professor, it is an ancient peasant superstition that on St. George's Eve, a blue flame may be seen in places where treasure has been buried. Transylvania herself has had a very unhappy history, with invasion by the Austrian, the Hungarian, and the Turk. And naturally, much of her wealth found its way into the ground, with those burying it never to return.
But if the blue flame is the guide, why has the treasure not been found?
Because the peasant at heart is a coward and a fool. Even though this blue flame may be seen on this one night, no man, if he can help it, will venture forth on this eve. That is the peasant, not the aristocrat. We are different. You see, Professor, I've read much. I've studied much, and in poring over these old tomes, these books and records, one finds a kinship. I extend my being. I cross the barriers of time, one might say, for in studying the past, one's own past through the blood, the family line, one receives an intimation of immortality. Do you believe in immortality, Professor?
Yes, and I shall tell you why. Every natural longing given to us by God or nature has its natural gratification, and since there is in man this craving for eternal life, for immortality, I believe that craving will also be satisfied.
You are speaking, of course, of prolonging one's own life, of material immortality.
Yes.
Would you not like some sherry, Count?
Thank you, no. I do not drink wine. Allow me to get to the purpose of my visit, Doctor. You have here a young woman by the name of Renfield.
Why, yes.
She is a patient of yours, and nearing recovery from whatever malady has affected her.
There has been no determination of that matter.
Well, when Renfield is released, whenever that may be, she may be desirous of a position, seeking a master, one might say. I find myself in need of a servant upon my estate. So when young Renfield feels better, please, when you feel the time is propitious, mention this to her.
I thank you for the kind offer, Count, both for myself and Renfield.
Forgive me, Professor. In the reflection of your mirror, I thought I saw someone or something, possibly, on the balcony.
Perhaps a bat, Count. There's one hereabouts.
Maybe, Professor. Doctor, I must now take my leave of you. Professor.
Your neighbor. His name was never mentioned. Only the Count, or our neighbor, the gentleman from Carfax.
He is the
Yes,
Count
I know. He is Dracula, the Count Dracula.
Why, yes.
My colleagues are looking all over England for him, and he's been here all the time.
Your colleagues.
From the expedition to Transylvania. After the greatest of difficulty, we finally were able to find Dracula's castle, for we had acquired evidence of its being, and of Dracula. But when we arrived, it was too late. The castle was deserted. We did, however, make a significant discovery in the Count's chapel.
Chapel?
A large amount of loam had been freshly removed. We later learned that a box from the castle had been shipped to a port in England. Undoubtedly, it was the loam from the chapel. We know the box arrived at Whitby. From that point, there's no record.
You mean...
Your neighbor from Carfax, the man, the bat at the window, the wolf you hear howling, all Dracula.
How can you be certain?
I purposely held my mirror towards him. There was no reflection. We both heard the outside door close as he left, but no one went through that door, at least no one visible.
Then he is still in the house.
Possibly. Upstairs in my room there is a file prepared by a colleague, years of research. We believe this man to be the famous Baboy Dracula of 5 centuries ago. If it be so, then this was no common man, for in that time and for centuries thereafter, he was spoken of as the cleverest and most cunning, as well as the bravest of men. That mighty brain and our resolution went with him to his grave, and are even now arrayed against us.
What are we to do, Professor?
We must find that box of earth, for that is where he must repose during the day.
And then?
And then, destroy him before he strikes at his newest victim. Yes, we must find that box of earth. Must drive the stake through the heart and sever the head. Have you been inside, Carfax? Has anyone you know?
Abigail. She was born in the neighborhood. I believe she once said she'd been in that house as a child.
It's important we discover where Dracula might be hidden before we attempt to enter Carfax.
Abigail, sit there. You can be of great help to us, Abby. It is about Miss Lucy.
Oh, poor Miss Lucy! Oh,
One night before she died, Miss Lucy visited Carfax.
oh God!
She gained entrance to that house. How, Abby, how?
Oh, Why, I suspect with the keys, sir. The two houses are the same, keys and everything.
Abby, you once told me that as a child you had entered Carfax.
I didn't mean no wrong, sir. Didn't know nothing. 'Twas me and my brother. Mischievous lad he was. Rest his soul.
Tell me everything you remember.
Oh, was when I was 9 or 10, thereabouts. It was ever so spooky, as you might say. My brother Tom, rest his soul, had the key. Took it from the shelf in the kitchen. Only bad thing he ever did, sir, but no harm came of it. The door we opened was so creaky, it was sound racial dead, you might say. All inside was dusty and cobwebs everywhere. There was the great hall, and the study, and the pantry in the back. Everything just like here.
Everything just like here?
Why, yes, sir. The houses are the same, you know.
Thank you, Abby.
May I leave, Doctor?
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor. And don't think bad about Tom. Rest his soul. He really was a good boy at art. Of course, Doctor, it really ain't exactly the same. That other house has got its chapel.
I have decided not to leave on Tuesday.
Where could he be, Dracula? We searched all of Carfax. As for a chapel, it must be something Abby imagined.
Count Dracula has been seen in the courtyard of this mansion just before sunrise. Wherever he is resting, it is near, Dr. Seward, very, very near. What was before the pursuit of a mystery has become the mystery of a pursuit, yes? About for more flies, young Redfield?
The fly, Professor Van Helsing, has one striking feature. Its wings are typical of the aerial powers of psychic faculties. All of the ancients did right when they typified the soul as a butterfly.
Oh, it's a soul you're after now, is it?
No, I don't want any souls. Life is all I want.
So, Renfield, you're not interested in souls.
No, sir. Indeed, I'm not. Indeed, I'm not.
Why not?
Couldn't use them if I had them. I couldn't eat them, or
Can you, Renfield, accept life without soul?
I don't want any souls.
Yet you like life and want life.
Yes, yes, yes.
But how are we to get the life without also getting the soul? Oh, a nice time you'll have someday when you're flying out there. The souls of thousands of flies and spiders and birds buzzing and twittering all around you. You've got their lives, you know, and you must put up with their souls.
No.
Would you not like some more sugar, Renfield, to get your flies back around?
Not necessary. Flies are stupid things. Besides, I don't want their souls buzzing around me all the same.
Or spiders.
Low spiders. What's the use of them? There isn't much in them to eat, or... Besides, I don't take stock in such matters you're speaking of. To hell with you and your souls.
What? Where did you get that cat? That kitten?
It was given to me, Doctor, by a friend. Someone who likes me. Someone who understands me. Someone I call Master.
Well, Professor Van Helsing, what do you make of that?
Renfield has fallen victim to the dark world and is deserving of all our help.
Count Dracula?
A different story. Of course, we shouldn't have expected to find Dracula at Carfax. The man is too clever to keep his box of earth in his own house. He's placed it in another place. But where and how? It's vital we find that box of earth, and quickly, else others will soon join the undead.
Mrs. Hawker.
Yes.
Did you find him? Oh, I know. I know. And I found out about Lucy. Poor Lucy.
Mrs. Hawker,
Yes.
what happened last night?
I took the sleeping draught which Dr. Seward so kindly gave me. But for the longest time it did not act. I seemed to become more wakeful, and myriad horrid fancies pressed upon my mind, all of them concerned with death, vampires, blood. Eventually I must have fallen asleep, but I was awakened somehow. By what I know not. I felt a vague dread, and I sensed a presence in the room with me. And then, approaching the bed, as if from a mist, a figure, all in black. It was Count Dracula. His face was waxen, his lips bright red, and his teeth white, very sharp. I was paralyzed with fear. He approached me and put his lips to my throat. I felt all the strength draining away from me, and I passed into a swoon. How long it lasted, I know not, but it seemed an endless time before he took his foul, awful, sneering mouth away. I saw it drip with fresh blood. And then he opened his shirt, and with a long, sharp nail opened a vein in his breast. And when the blood began to spurt out, he took my hands in one of his very tight, and with the other seized my neck and forced my mouth so that I must either suffocate or swallow some. Oh, God! Oh, God, what have I done? What have I done to deserve this? I who tried to walk in meekness and righteousness all my days. Oh, God, look down upon a poor woman in worse than mortal peril, and in mercy pity those to whom she's dear.
And then, Mrs. Hawker,
And then I rose from my bed, and I went with him, and I remember no more. I remember no more.
Count Dracula must have taken you to his hiding place. If we discover where that is, he may be destroyed and you set free.
It is too late. Too late. My eyes are glassy. My teeth are sharp. And I thirst for blood.
You must let me hypnotize you, dear lady. Perhaps in a hypnotic trance, you will remember where you were taken by Dracula. Will you help us?
Yes, yes, if you think it's possible.
Follow the watch. You, all of you, I take to witness that I'm as sane as the majority of men that are in full capability of their liberties.
You seem to be improving rapidly.
I fear, Dr. Seward, you will hardly apprehend this next wish. I desire to leave this place, at once. Here, now, this very moment, this very hour, if I may. I'm sure it's only necessary to put before so admirable a practitioner as Dr. Seward momentous. To ensure its fulfillment, is it possible I've erred in my supposition?
You have.
Then I suppose I must shift my ground of request. Grant me this concession. Boom. Privilege. What you will. I am content to implore in this case, not on personal grounds, but for the sake of others. I may not give you the whole of my reasons, but you may, I assure you, trust that they are good ones. They're sound, unselfish. They spring forth from the highest sense of duty. Nay, you would count me among the best and truest of friends. If you could look, sir, into my heart, you would approve fully of the sentiments which animate me. I would be the best and truest of friends to you, sir.
Can you not tell us your real reason for wishing to be free tonight?
No.
Yes, Ringfield, tell us.
No. Dr. Seward, if I were free to speak, I wouldn't hesitate a moment. I know. I can only ask that you trust me. And if I'm refused, the responsibility won't rest with me. Please, sir. Dr. Seward, please. Let me entreat you. Let me implore you. Send me away from this place at once. How you will and where you will. Send keepers with me, with whips and chains. Send me in a straitjacket, manacle, leg iron, even to keep me in a cell, but let me go. You don't know what you do by keeping me here. I'm speaking from the depths of my heart, from my very soul. You do not know who you wrong by keeping me here. I can't tell you. I can't. Can't you hear me? Can't you understand me? I'm no longer a lunatic in a mad fit. I'm a sane person fighting for their soul. Hear me. Hear me, please, and let me go.
Ringfield, enough. Now go back to your room.
You will, I trust, Dr. Seward, do me the justice of bearing later on. I did what I could to convince you to let me go.
Mrs. Harker? Mrs. Harker?
Yes?
Where are you, Mrs. Harker?
What?
Where are you?
Do not know. It is all strange to me.
What do you see?
I see nothing. It's all dark.
Are you in a house, Mrs. Harker? Are you in this house?
Yes. Yes. And now I see him. Count Dracula. No. Please, take me away. Please. Please, no.
There, Mrs. Harker.
Crucifix on the desk. Bring it to me, please. It burns me. I am impure, becoming one of them, amongst the damned already. It's too late. Too late.
Will you please go and stay with Mrs. Hawker? Oh, Mrs. Hawker.
Yes. But she supplied us with most important information. Do you perchance have old papers, drawings of this house? The two houses were designed in the same way for brothers. Is it not possible there was an underground passage made between the two? I keep thinking of Abby's remembering a chapel.
Something she imagined.
Judging from the paper, Waterlock. These drawings are less than 100 years old, since the division of the property. Do you have a marker? Ha! 6 feet off
What?
from the measurements indicated on the drawings, which means part of this room has been sealed off.
You think?
A chapel. Years ago, there must have been a chapel, and it's there that Dracula has made his hiding place, using the underground passage from Carfax. Quickly, bring down Abigail. Now, Abby, you are a good girl, a bright and very helpful girl. Years ago, when you were in the Carfax mansion, think back carefully, you said you were in the chapel.
Oh, no, Mum. We didn't go in, Brother and I. We were too afraid. We just looked in.
Where was the chapel, Abby? Try to remember.
Why, off the study, Mum. Here.
Renfield! Oh! I heard Renfield calling for help. I ran to her room. She was on the floor, surrounded by blood.
She is dead, Mrs. Harker.
There was a cat, a kitten, lapping up the blood.
Blood's the line.
Poor young woman. Poor demented young woman. And perhaps my fate shall be hers, because she has been touched by Dracula, just as I have been.
Now is the time, Dr. Seward.
Sit there, Abby.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Professor?
Well done.
Oh, God! The crucifix. Bring it to me. The monster is dead. He's dead.
Yes, Dracula's at peace. And someday we all shall be.
Am I free, Professor?
Yes, Mrs. Harker, you are free. Just as Count Dracula is now free. Let us remember that before his death, his first death, he had been a great man.
He is truly dead.
Now only a character to be remembered. The adventure is ended, and we, if we are to be remembered, 'twill be his memories along with Dracula.